And welcome back to the return of the Zanpakuto Creation Series. This Zanpakuto Creation Series suggestion for the month starts us with Gamer Forever's Guts from Berserk. I believe it's Berserk, not Berserker. If I'm double checking that right now. I'm almost positive it's Berserk. But Guts from Berserk. Now, Guts strike me as a unique, it's Berserk. Unique Zanpakuto to create for, because he more or less kind of has a Shikai right there. It's a giant F-off Zambato, which is the terminology for it. A sword so big can take out man and horse is actually called a Zambato, not a Zanpakuto. But it actually does have an ability where it's bathed in so much blood of demons, ghouls, whatever, that it can in fact kill ghosts as well. So that is, in theory, a Zanpakuto ability. But that doesn't really work for Guts. And I don't always translate their abilities that they have as characters or with their gear into a Zanpakuto unless I think it fits well with the character. And plus, in a world of Bleach, which we would be creating a sword for, it would be such a redundant ability because all the swords can do that. So the question is, what did I think up for Guts? So I ultimately came with something that's very simplistic, but I think fits Guts pretty well. So first and foremost, this is a melee type Zanpakuto. Its sealed state is still a katana. Now, its release would be bite down. There's a lot of bites or growls or roars out there for release commands. I want to try to be a little unique. Now, the name of this Zanpakuto is Sleeping Demon or Sleeping Oni. I went more with the Oni part, which translates, depending on how you use Google Translate, into Sumi Oni or Nemuryu Oni. Its Bankai is Reveling Oni, or Kanto Shuri Oni / Asobi Oni. Take your pick on what version you'd like to go with that name. Now, the spirit of the Zanpakuto is, I think, very unique. And Shikai is a child. It's basically like a younger version of Guts. But it's a child with, like, reddish skin and little demon. It's a little baby Oni, basically. Not a baby, a little kid Oni. And he's more or less fairly innocent. But if he were to be going into his inner world as he's fighting, he would notice that the Oni keeps growing up, bigger and stronger and older. Until in the Bankai, where the Oni is fully revealed to be an Oni. Now, the Shikai of this sword would take the form of Guts' Dragon Slayer sword. It would take this giant Zanpakuto, or giant Zambato form. And because it's Bleach and stuff like that, he still would probably be able to wield it with pretty much expertise. I mean, Zaraki wields Nozarashi with no real issue whatsoever. And this isn't as big as Nozarashi. So you'd be asking then, well, what does this sword do? Well, it's a melee type Zanpakuto. It doesn't really have any extravagant ability per se. But it does have one unique ability, I think. And it'd be a really unique ability overall. Because it goes to a concept that was brought up in early Bleach. Not early Bleach, but mid-Bleach. Right in the beginning of the Roncar arc. The idea that if Shinigami didn't regulate the size of their swords and spiritual pressure, they'd be swinging Zanpakuto the size of skyscrapers. This Zanpakuto, as it kills, as it slays, grows in size. Now, how big it gets could be proportional to the Ryatsu of the individual it slays, or it could just be maybe it doubles in size or whatever, or maybe it adds a certain amount of length on. Take your pick on how you like to do that. But the point is that this thing grows bigger and larger and just more powerful as he swings it, as he lands hits, and as he kills. And this would work very well with Guts' whole motif of, being the guy who goes berserk, being the berserker who just slays everything. Now, it still also lends itself to at least the bit of stability he still carries with him while, he's not completely going berserk. It's a little bit of an unwieldy sword once it gets to a certain point. The idea is, after a while, if the fight is still going on and he can't beat someone after the sword is like maybe 100 feet long or whatever, that he ultimately go into Bankai and use the effects of the Bankai. But the idea is that as it gets bigger, he cannot wield it as well. Like, no matter how large or powerful your weapon is, no matter how close you are to your weapon, there is a limit to how skilled you could be with it. You could master your weapon, but understand its limitations. A perfect example of this, to a degree, would be Zaraki's Zanpakuto. While he wields it perfectly fine, you can tell it is also a little, he doesn't just like straight hold it outright all the time. He does balance it on his shoulder because it's just more advantageous for him. And that's Zaraki, who is, God knows how powerful. In terms of other unwieldy weapons, for instance, Lisa's Hagame Togame, something like that. I think that's what it's called. It's a large staff, and therefore is wielded like a large staff. It is a little unwieldy to a certain degree. So, after a while, even by captain standards, a massive, massive skyscraper-sized Zanpakuto would become very hard to wield. Not impossible, but very hard to wield, depending on your strength and all that. But you may ask then, okay, how does that translate to the Bankai? Where's this going? Well, the Bankai, I also decided to take something from the Berserk series, and that's his actual Berserker armor, that wolf-looking armor that he puts on, destroys all of his pain receptors and just lets him keep fighting. Even if his body breaks, he'll just keep fighting. The idea came from basically the idea that the more he swings, the larger the sword gets. When he releases his Bankai, the sword slims down to basically the size of his initial Shikai release, maybe even a little smaller depending on how much is there. And the remaining bits of the sword attach, and he wears like spiked armor, like almost looking like a volcanic, like rock spikes all over him, but it is metal armor. And the idea is the bigger the Zanpakuto gets, the more armor he has and the more versatility the Bankai can have. And he can still use the Bankai even when he's in his base form with the Shikai, which is still big. But at best, he's going to just wrap it around him like a thin sheet. He's going to have some protruding spikes here or there, whatever. But he'll more or less probably have like a standard-sized katana after the fact again. His objective when fighting is to kill as many individuals as he can, build up the size and power of the Zanpakuto, so when he releases it, he can have a bigger sword in his hand while still being wrapped up in a very dangerous weapon. If he gets into skyscraper levels, well, now he could technically be wearing like something equivalent to like a mech suit of just sword. Like he's maybe like 20 feet tall because he has like a skyscraper's worth of metal over a blade. And he still has he has a much bigger blade now, but he's now like wearing a mech kind of sorts. And all the benefits, physically speaking, that those would give. Enhanced strength, enhanced offense, enhanced defense. All of that. It's not in the same way like Zaraki's, where Zaraki did lose his mind a little bit. Like he just goes into a pure Berserker state. But it is something similar where it's kind of referencing the Berserker nature in him, where it's just a monster of blades going all out on someone. So that's what I like the idea for his Zanpakuto. Now, would the Zanpakuto have some weaknesses? Yes, it would. It has no real true range ability. Unless it's getting bigger, that's about it. And even then, the bigger it gets, the more unwieldy it becomes. So that's a double-edged sword right in there, which that is too. Reference. It has no like keto abilities whatsoever, so it has no range abilities in that as well. The Zanpakuto also is cursed by the fact, similar to kind of like Shinji's, actually Bankai, where it's only good against multiple opponents. This is really only good if you're maybe cleaving through a couple opponents before you get to your main adversary. If you're going just straight Shikai to Bankai against one-on-one person, yeah, you're going to get the Bankai benefits, but they're going to be the most minimal version of the benefits that you have. So, I mean, take that for what it is, but yeah, that does put this at a pretty big disadvantage. This guy would fare very well against people like a Nikaku, a Niratora, a Grimmjow, honestly, even a Gerard Valkyrie, he might do all right against. After a while, it's just going to be redundant. But he would not do well against keto users. Hell, he would not fare well against Zaraki at all. Now, you keep bringing up Zaraki because in concept, that's kind of the bare bones concept. A giant sword with kind of an ability to it is where I kind of went with the bare bones idea for this. But anyway, I digress. This is just my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified, and I'll see you later.